Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strauss Lawrence, and I'm a bereavement specialist. Hello, Susan. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Lisa. Wonderful to see you. My name is Susan Capurso. I'm an end of life doula and legacy specialist. And I want to welcome everybody today. We're going to talk about a topic that many people may not want to talk about, right? Organ donation. There's a national computer system in place that ensures strict standards and to make sure that they're fair and ethical when it comes to transplanting organs. And the organs are donated. They're, when they're donated, they're matched by blood and they're matched by tissue type, the size of a particular organ, the medical urgency for that particular organ, waiting time, and the geographic location has a lot to do with it as well. So, having said that, Lisa and I have done a bit of research to find um, ways to educate you and to clear up any misconceptions and to understand the facts about the organs and eyes and tissues
Mhm.
that can be donated during this extremely overwhelming process for everyone. I pulled some of my research from the United Network for Organ Sharing. So I'd like to say thank you to them because I did learn many things as well. My personal experience was with Live On New York in New York City. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a story later on. But first, Lisa and I wanted to just let you know some of the good benefits,
Mhm.
right? The good, why people should consider becoming an organ donor. And, first off, Lisa, organ donation it's an opportunity to help others. Wouldn't you say?
How many people are on a waiting list, waiting for a transplant, waiting for an organ,
And dying
and dying? Yeah.
because that organ wasn't available. So many. The list is maybe never ending. I don't know exactly how long the list is, right? But
Yeah.
but it's huge. And when you're a donor, you're not only helping one person, you could help multiple people,
Yes. Yes.
right? With different organs, maybe your eyes, maybe your kidneys, maybe we'll get into that a little bit more as well.
Mhm.
But it can be a positive and a rewarding experience also. And I know this firsthand for the family. Um, it helps in the grieving process and it helps knowing that your loved one did a really, really good thing and they were able to help so many people.
You want to tell the story now?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's part of
Okay.
the story that I want to tell. But first, we wanted to just give you a few facts
Sure.
because unless you do the research on your own, sometimes we don't know all the facts or any facts if you haven't been in a situation like this.
Hmm.
So when we first enter a hospital, you whatever it's for, it could be trauma, and usually it's an emergency, right? You go through the
Sure.
emergency, but the hospital's priority is to save your life.
Right.
It's to save your life.
Yeah.
So organ donation is specifically considered after a death.
Yes.
That's not something they talk about, while you're there, because
Yes.
that's all they're looking to do is save your life. So know that. And that's important, don't you think,
It
Lisa?
is. Yep.
They're not there looking for organs or trying to lessen that list. And, this is a conversation that comes up separately.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
There
buying,
also, there
I'm
is a
sorry.
national computer system and strict standards, and
Yeah,
they're in place to ensure ethical and fair distribution of organs. So I'm sure we all know buying and selling organs is illegal. Okay.
that's what
It's
I
a
was about
federal
to say.
felony to
Yeah,
receive any money, any tangible gift in exchange for a donated organ. That's
that's
really
right.
important. Okay.
That's right. And each hospital, although they have their government criteria, they all have their own rules as well, and their criteria, their personal criteria for accepting organ donors and according to their needs as well. So, that's something to remember, before ahead of time as well. You know, Another thing I saw is that people of all ages
Yes.
can be a potential donor because we tend to think that anybody over the age of 18,
Nice.
but it's really your medical condition at the time
Yeah.
of death
Yeah.
that's going to determine where your organs can be transplanted or which organs can be transplanted. And now I can tell you my little story, Lisa, because it falls into this category. My sister, my sister passed away. She was an addict, prescription meds. So really, she had passed as they were bringing her into the ambulance to take her to the hospital. So now they have the machines that keep her alive until I get there, and they let me know what was going on, and there was no brain activity. And this was really hard. My sister had three little, very little young children at
Mm.
home and no spouse.
Mm.
Uh, After we knew that, and that was already settled, that's when a social worker from Live On New York had come in, and she asked me if she could talk to me, and we went into a separate room, wasn't right in my sister's room, and we sat down on the couch, and she was so kind. She was really kind and sweet, and I respected the organization for that, because it wasn't just about, come on, we don't have time, let's do this,
Mhm.
make this decision for your sister.
Mm.
um, she spent time with me, and they do spend time in the hospitals. They're not whisked in to make these decisions quickly and unkind or not thoughtfully. And they were good at their job. She was so good. She sat there, she held my hand, she gave me a hug when she came in the room, and she was the perfect representative. And I'd like to think that they were all like that, right? So she sat down and she asked about her kids and my family, and we talked about quite a few things. Now, before my sister was an addict, I mean, she was. So I didn't think in my mind that she would be able to donate any of her organs.
Mm.
And that wasn't so.
Mm.
That wasn't so. It's very possible to donate all your organs, if not some of them. Okay, so there's a process in her particular case when, your body's been filled with all these medications for so long, to cleanse the body, to clear out the medications. And that meant keeping her on these machines, keeping her alive until we could do that, until that process was complete. So I understood it. They explained it very, very well to me. Still gives me the goosebumps when I talk about it now. And they also let me know that this may take 4 to 5 days to
Wow.
do this. So it was important for me not to leave my sister alone, even though she was considered brain dead. And I hate that expression. I'm sorry for using that, but we know that expression. So I stayed. I stayed. And the social worker also stayed. Honestly, I don't even know if she ever went home to sleep, because when this process occurs, they stay with you.
Oh.
Not really sitting next to me the whole time. They're out there behind the nurse's station, but they're there in the hospital to literally hold the family's hand and guide and support me and everybody through the process. Now, does Live On New York, are they the only people that do it this way, and the process unfolds this way? I doubt it. I doubt it. I believe that any organization does. And that impressed me. even though the heartache and the overwhelm I was going through, she was just so kind and so nice. And she kept coming in and checking on me. She gave me a book, a book, an inspirational book to read with a bookmark while I was there. And it was just beautiful, not about organ donation, just inspiring messages in it. Um, another thing they did live on New York is they had a group of seniors who made knitted blankets. And I don't know if they were all the same colors, probably different colors. Hers was like a sage green and a white. And they brought it in and they laid it on my sister. And just very nice little things like that to help me get through the process, because that's a really hard process when you make this choice and decide to stay with your loved one, knowing that they're not there, but that I knew she was doing something so good for the world and for so many people. And it took them time to determine over the course of the 5 days which organs could be used. We thought up to about five. They told me each one. It ended up that she could only donate three of them, which was a wonderful thing to me, to be able to help three people that needed these type of things. So was my experience good? Well, no, I sat with my sister while she wasn't in the room. And that was really hard to come to terms, watching her children come in and say goodbye and then the whole thing. But was the experience of the organ donation good? It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And honestly, I can say that it brought me some inner peace versus had they not been there, or I hadn't decided to do this.
Yeah.
It really did, because it was comforting.
Yeah.
It was comforting to know they were there for me. I was there for her. And she, in turn, was there for three people and so many families,
What a beautiful
moving forward.
story. What a
So
beautiful
that's my
story.
story. Mhm.
That is just so inspiring because it inspires others on how to deal with death and
Yeah.
what happens afterwards. People don't realize that a lot of organs and tissues can be donated. Heart, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, liver, intestines, corneas,
Corneas.
skin, tendons, bone, nerve,
Corneas. Yes.
and heart valves.
Yes.
You're talking about a lot of really important parts of your body
And most
that,
people don't know that.
yeah,
Most people think, oh, it's just a heart
right,
transplant
right.
or a kidney donation, or a liver. Well, most people know those, but not the many other things. And even if you or your loved one have indicated on their driver's license that they want to be a donor, really, they recommend that you go on the donor registries,
Right, right.
right? And you can find those online, just to have yourself covered. But more importantly, speak with your family.
Yeah.
Speak with your family and say, hey, when it's my time to go, I want to help other families as well. This way it's very clear. In my sister's case, she didn't have a spouse. There was nobody else there but me for her. So I was able to make that decision for her.
Yeah. And there are details on health proxies and all. So it states very clearly what you want. And really, as you said, you got to share that with your family or the people who are going to make decisions after that for you.
Right.
Yeah, very important.
Different religions, Lisa, have their own
Yeah.
perspectives on donation, although
Mhm.
many accept organ donation.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I got off at the
Me too.
website,
Me too.
right? Many of them accept it. And, there are donors that are needed for every race, every ethnic
Yeah.
group. We're human beings, we're all different. So, but we all can be organ donors.
Yes. I learned
Um,
a lot of interesting things. An open casket funeral is still possible for organ and
yes,
tissue donors. I didn't realize that because I know
no,
a lot
and
of people.
most people wouldn't.
Yes.
Most people wouldn't, because really, um, the fear, it's fear,
Yes, it is.
right? It's the fear of the unknown, because you don't know these little details that Lisa and I are giving to you ahead of time. So it's fear or phobias or anxiety that are making you feel that, oh no, you have to cut me all open. First of all, if you've watched any of our videos, you know that I believe that you're not there. You know, your bones and skin are there left to turn to dust and ash, but you're not there. Your soul is your spirit, and that left your body already. But more importantly, they don't just um, randomly cut open your body and cut open pieces and take it, it's done in a beautiful, respectful way. So once the organs that are being donated, and they will know in advance what they're going into to remove, once they're being donated, your body's sewn up, just as if a mother that has a C-section,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
go into that part, and they'll remove what they need to remove, in the mother's case, a baby. Okay, but then they sew you up and dress you, and of course you can still have an open casket,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. There's also no cost to the donor's family or the
Mm,
estate for organ and tissue donation. That's something that we will need to know. And the information about the organ donor is only released to the recipient if the family of the donor requests or agrees to it.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's a
so
patient's
they don't,
privacy.
yeah, right. So you don't need to have, unless the family agrees to it,
Correct.
and the
Correct.
family wants to give that information.
Correct.
So these are all important things to know. you know some people choose not to donate their organs for spiritual reasons, but like I said earlier, most religions do support it. So they might not know, the person might not know the real facts behind that. So,
Yes.
and just feel squeamish about the whole fact,
Yeah.
about the
I
whole
didn't know that
situation.
the US has the highest performing organ donation and transplant system in the world. I didn't know that.
Hmm,
It says a lot.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you're not able to donate organs. So I don't know if earlier in this video I might have said everybody can donate. There are sometimes that your organs cannot be donated, and it's usually conditions like if you have HIV, if you have a cancer, a spreading cancer,
Yeah.
or a severe infection through your body.
Right.
And sometimes it's even diabetes and kidney disease as well.
Right.
So I guess it depends. There's criteria, there's numbers, there's data, but the doctors are. And the other thing I found very impressive in the hospital is that while the social worker that worked with me, um, she had a station almost, and she was set up behind the nurse's station, but she was in real life time with people who were at the top of the list and needed these particular organs. And she was back and forth on the phone
Uh,
with the organization constantly, because I'd see it from the room, or walking in and out. And she was doing her job. And I even talked to her about this afterwards. And she said, no, oh, that's right. I remember now. I just remembered. She said that, yes, because that's what they're there to do. That's their job. And that they were there. I believe she said, if I can remember correctly, because this was 5 years ago now, um, I believe she said that it was 3 days on, 3 days off, and that they stay. I don't think they go home even for long periods of time.
wow.
Like
Wow.
they have to be there almost around the clock, unless they have somebody to come in and relieve you, but they stay with you for a certain amount of days before they're switched out with another agent. This is again just the place, the Live on New York, that I dealt with. Positive experience though.
Wow. And what a very special person to be able to sit there with someone in the family and help them through this process. That's an
Yeah.
amazing person.
Lisa, and I'll be honest with you here. It was right before I had researched about an end of life doula and then had got my certification. All of this happened right before that. And I actually um, went to live on New York to see if I could fill that position,
Wow.
to leave the corporate world and fill that position versus, being an end of life doula, what I didn't know anything about an end of life doula at that point. Um,
No.
and I couldn't because I didn't graduate with a social work degree.
Yes.
And that was a criteria for
Hmm.
them, which
Hmm.
is a good criteria,
It is. It
I
is.
understand, but I thought I would do that so well,
Mm,
to be with the family through the whole process. I would have been helpful in that.
yeah,
But things happen for different reasons, and
they
hence
do.
you and I met, and we're doing this YouTube video.
That's right. That's right. These are wonderful things that we discuss. I know that most people don't. Um, yeah, they may think about it. They may think of so many of the issues that we talk about, but we just need to keep getting out information to people.
And
And
keep having a conversation,
yep, yep,
open and honest conversation. So if you're listening to this, maybe because you have a loved one at home or a parent or a grandparent, you know, have a conversation about it. Make it a fun conversation. Everything doesn't have to be so scary. It could be a little lighter, but have the conversation about this and so many other things, but they're important things, and it'll make life easier for the whole family later on,
yeah,
as you travel the road of end of life,
right.
you know.
Good, Susan. Okay.
Yeah, so I hope these things helped a little bit. And again, you can find all this information online. There were many websites that offer this type of information, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
And that's what Lisa and I have found through our travels and the people that we've met. Not everybody goes to Mr. or Mrs. Google and looks for certain information. I do. I'm a researcher at heart, and I must Google twice a day, at least 3 times a day, even from my phone when there's something that I don't know.
Yes.
And I said, I've never heard of that before. Well, I Google it because I'm just a lifetime learner, so I like to know these things. But there is a lot of information online about this. So whether it's Live on New York, who actually we should have had as a guest, Lisa. We should have had them as a guest,
Oh,
to really give firsthand information. But again, we do our research
yeah,
well, and I hope we did a good job for them and for all the families that may be watching this today.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Right?
We touch topics that people really need to discuss. And though
Right.
it's difficult, it's really important that people talk about with their families and their friends and what they
Sure,
want.
sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's why we do what we do. Today is October 25th, 2022.
it is.
So know the date because Lisa is about to tell us about a workshop that she's doing in the next few weeks. She's doing a grief and bereavement workshop. So tell us a little bit about that, Lisa, because there's still time to sign up for that.
Sure. And there'll be many times where I mention it, but it is a 6-week support group for getting through the holidays. I think that support is really important. I'm big on support groups, and it will be a virtual support group every Wednesday evening from November 9th to December 14th, where for the hour from 7 to 8, we will get to know each other. We'll discuss our challenges and issues facing the holidays that are coming up and supporting each other and coming up with different ways of coping and different ideas. I think support groups really do help people. I think that they help them not feel alone and facing these challenges by themselves. And so for a very nominal fee, it is on Eventbrite. And I'll add it in when I publish the article. But again, just for a very nominal fee, it's 6 weeks. I would like everybody to come for 6 weeks because I think it's important for the flow of everything. And in between that time, there'll be different kinds of activities and exercises to do that'll be helpful in
Very
getting through.
helpful. that's what Lisa and I try and do, be helpful.
That's right. So,
So one thing I do on the side is you can go, actually, I realized my website, you can just go to susancaperso.com. You see my name up top there. And if you do, you can see the Healing Garden Bowl. There's a tab on there for the Healing Garden, and there's 5 different themes. There are 12 stones in each bowl, and they're really inspiring messages regarding the theme. So there is a grief bowl if you have a friend who's lost somebody in their life and you just don't want to send fruit or flowers right now. This is something that there's instructions in the bowl how to meditate on these messages twice a day on one messages. And it's really a therapeutic tool. So the bowls are for cancer. If you have a friend with a cancer diagnosis, inspirational or spirituality rather, with messages with some scriptures on there, for if you have a friend who's lost a loved one, and pet loss, and caregiver, right? Who cares for the caregiver? So I made sure to include that bowl in there too.
and I
And
bought two. So I just
oh,
want to
thank you.
say that both people really felt that they were really moved by that kind of
Yeah.
present. It was a personal present. The one was for my friend who lost her brother in a tragic accident. And the other one is for my friend who's a caregiver now for her husband. So both
Well,
were
thank you
really
for that
beautiful
testimonial.
gifts. Yeah,
Thank you, Lisa.
thank you.
It was great seeing you again. We'll
So
be back next Monday.
we will,
And thank you all for joining in.
yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Take care.